Actually, just to confirm, guys, can you hear me? Please let me know if the sound is good. Okay, there we go. Just wanted to make sure. The disclaimer ran through on the chat box over here up top. So I'm just going to just to say the first sentence here: the following videos, clips, and demonstrations. Yeah, thank you, Othman and Tony. Hope I didn't say your name wrong there. Yeah, I just realized my while my software microphone was unmuted, my hardware microphone was still muted. So, but we're all good now. Thank you everyone for joining me today. We'll be doing futures intraday trading today. My name is Bojan Petreski, go by Bo, easy to say and remember. On this wonderful February 15th of 2021, Monday, and today is President's Day in the U.S. So we are anticipating a little bit slower of a day today, just because it is a holiday, and people do tend to trade a little bit less on these days. So without much more ado, let's go ahead and pull up our TradeStation right here. As you know, let me just make sure that this is on. There we go. Today on this particular session, we're primarily focusing on these guys right here. We're looking at the 50-minute and the 30-minute. I'm sorry, 50-minute and 60-minute climates. We're looking at the highlighted futures down here, basically between the 50-minute and the 60-minute, just because these sessions are between 45 minutes and an hour. We're focusing on these because they tend to give us a lot more opportunities to enter, but as well as the fact that when we do enter them, there is a high chance that we'll be able to either close them within the session's time or at least shortly thereafter. You can certainly take these 240-minute climates down here as well, but again, just expect obviously with a higher climate, it comes basically expect a longer lasting trade. Could you get lucky and get into a trade and it just shoots right to your target or right to your stop? Absolutely, that can happen. But for these sessions, again, we're going to look at these 50-minute and the 60-minute climates primarily. Now, looking at as I said, today being a slower day, there's a good chance that we're going to get maybe a couple opportunities here and there, perhaps on markets that are not intensely related to the U.S. markets, like we're seeing right here on EC. Right, it is a near sensible long climate that we have a permission to open, as well as silver, which is also a near sensible long climate. They're pretty close to their ATRs, which is good. Now we do have a near sensible long on crude oil. However, the climate is unconfirmed, so we're going to go ahead and check it in about 12 minutes from now, right? More realistically, probably 11 minutes from now, because obviously the time stops when I freeze the screen. But that's the beauty of trading primarily a permission-based system that allows you to be so mechanical, that allows you to be so rule focused, so to speak. So yeah, there we go. Just 1 second, guys. There we are. Okay, perfect. Now, let's go ahead and do exactly what we just said we're going to do. Let's, since we have a permission to open these charts, let's go ahead and open them. So we're looking at the 60-minute climate on the euro contract and the silver contract, because those are the only ones that have a sensible climate, a near sensible climate with a confirmed climate. So let's go ahead and open those up and see what's going on. So EC 60-minute and silver 60-minute. Now, I myself haven't really particularly traded silver a whole bunch. However, there's a very easy way to calculate what type of risk you'll be taking, what kind of entries will be taken, and so on these time frames. So let's go ahead and take a look. In the meantime, while this is all loading, I see a couple of you guys said hi. You know that we had some sound issues, but for the rest of the gang, you know, please feel free to say hi, whether you're on Facebook or on YouTube or Vimeo. You know, since we're simulcasting, I'm trying to look at all the chats that we have here on my other screen. But in case I missed something, you know, please do feel free to let me know or send it to me via email. That one I definitely won't miss. Okay, so as you see here, right, this chart, this is the Z contract, the December contract for silver. I have not traded this since then. So let's go ahead and take a look and determine which contract we should be on, given that this is a metal, right? We know that metals change contracts quite often, as do the energies. So the best thing to do is to look at where the most volume is and load that chart itself. So barchart.com futures, most active, I just have all here. We can go into metals and take a look and see that silver is on the March contract, the H21. Okay, so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to put at SIH21. And there we go. Just, you know, very mechanically, very methodically, you know, executing accordingly. No ands, ifs, or buts. No, well, you know, I think, you know, the upcoming month, the J month, the April month is going to have, you know, more probabilities. Well, according to our plan, we trade where the most volume is, and as we see right now, between gold, copper, and silver, they're all on the. I'm sorry, actually, copper and silver are on the March contract, and as I said, you know, gold has already moved into the April contract according to the volume, because if you see, I think GCG does GCH no longer is tradable. So that's the importance. You see it again and again here. That's the importance of analyzing this stuff before you even load the charts, because you don't want to be trading on the wrong contract where there's little or, you know, no volume. I mean, you definitely don't want to be, unless you know exactly what you're doing. Maybe you're doing some spread trading or something like that. You know, you could potentially trade these two contracts. But if you're doing day trading according to the plan that we have set up here, that is the way to go. All right, and it looks like we may even have a trade on silver right now. So we see, you know, let's just go ahead and freeze this. We see that the moving average exponential, right, the 9 EMA is at 27,644, right? I'm going to check, but it looks like this UFO might actually meet entry for this. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm just gonna drop a horizontal line on the top of this, and wow, it looks like it's actually it's missing it by a tick, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it ticks in 0.05 increments, so it is missing it just by a tick, actually just less than a tick. So it's at 27,644, price is at 635. This UFO starts at 40. Right, and the easy way to do that is just click on the UFO itself, and you'll see that the beginning price of this UFO is 27,640. So, you know, almost doesn't cut it, right? It has to be either it's the EMA is enveloped by the UFO or it's not, right? If you want to be a little more picky and say, well, you know, I want it in this darker circle of the UFO, you can certainly do that, but at the very bare minimum, the moving average needs to be enveloped by this UFO. And in this scenario, it is not. Now, you know, that being said and considered, one thing to say right here is the following, right? We're on the second out of typically 5 candles up, right? This is 2 out of 5 up. Could something like this happen, right? This price absorbs the UFOs here and it bounces off, right? Which means this one over here would also bounce off, and this one over here would also bounce off. Now, these are 3 separate frames of movement. I'm not calling them time frames because obviously these are not connected with times. So I'm just calling them, you know, frames of movement. There's a high probability that if this, you know, if these UFOs get absorbed in an up climate, there's a high probability that we do see a little bit of a bounce up. Could that leave more traces of UFOs on these other, you know, more or less a little more sensitive frames of movement? Absolutely. So that could give us a potential entry somewhere around these areas, right? And, you know, apologies for the inability to draw proper circles. You know, I was never the artistic kind since I was a kid. But that could certainly happen, is what I'm trying to say. So, and then obviously if it does come to a retest, then boom, you know, we have an entry, right? So, you know, we're going to leave it alone for now. Obviously, this is a little bit more slower moving than the usual markets. Obviously, it's also on the 60-minute time frame. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 60. I guess I haven't traded the 60 in a while too. Same thing as I did for this one. I'm just trying to save on some time just to see what's what. On the Euro contract, right? On the Euro contract, it's almost like a similar situation with silver, right? We have a UFO on the 8-minute time frame. We are on the first out of typically 6 candles up, which is great. The moving average is actually right where price is right now, so 21,370. So unfortunately, we do not have a trade here. Very similar to what's going on in silver. You see it touched this. I'm just gonna zoom this in a little bit more just so I can show it to you. But you can see that it actually, you know, it rocketed up from here, right? Potentially made this new UFO, and then it touched it with a wick, and it's already bouncing up. Okay, so it's already and this is a very, you know, bullish formation of a right here, right? So, you know, this type of formation, when it touches like this, it's great to see. It would have been even greater if we were in on this entry and then it moved up. But obviously, even if we caught this before, we would not have executed this, mainly because the moving average is at 21,372, which is right where price is right now. So this would not have met the criteria for entry. And just like that, as you saw, this got touched and filled to an extent, and now it's gone. That means that those orders that were there are already filled. Okay? No new UFOs have developed, but that doesn't mean they won't. We can still leave this on because we still have a confirmed climate. Now, gold is giving us an opportunity here on the 60-minute as well. So let's go ahead and open up gold. In the meantime, guys, let me know if I'm going too fast, too slow. If it's a good pace, just, you know, keep me posted. I do have all 3 chats open here, so I should be able to catch any of the chat that you got. Okay. Just gonna move that there. There we go. All right, so we got gold. It is a confirmed down climate. No UFOs nearby minus this one, which is not going to work again. And that's mainly because of the fact that this UFO starts at 1820, right? So it starts at 1820.07, whereas the moving average is at 1819.4. Okay, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to execute on this one either, but it's good to know that there may be a potential reaction off of there as well. You know, given the fact that, as you see right now, price is very similar to the previous one, 1819.4, and moving average is 1819.4. So could we see a bounce from here? You know, absolutely. Okay, thank you, Othman. Good pace, good stuff. Yeah, guys, just keep it engaged. You know, anything you want to ask. Again, today is, like I said, it's probably going to be a slower day, so we're most likely not going to see any sort of, you know, crazy movement or a lot of opportunities for execution. But, you know, we're going to keep searching for it because you never know what kind of opportunities we can get. Just kind of doing a bit of a you know, ahead of movement type of homework. Natural gas on the 60-minute is confirmed. It's a sensible long. It's not near yet because, as you see, it's 0.5 ATRs away. But the good news is that it's on the second candle out of typically 7. Okay, so I'm just going to open that one up again because it's a bit of a slower paced day today. I'm going to open that one up even though it's not flashing, in anticipation that it might flash, because as soon as this gets a little smaller, the ATR difference, then we're actually going to see some changes. But before I do that, first we got to follow our plan, and crude oil is giving us a near sensible long. Let's go ahead and open up crude oil on the 15-minute. And actually there's another one too. Let me see which one it was. So crude oil and EC on the 15-minute. So we're going to go ahead and open up crude oil, and I'm also going to open up EC. That's the euro contract on the 15-minute. The euro contract, CH21. Okay. And there we are. So let's see what we got going on here. All right, crude oil first. That was the first one we noticed. Okay. Come on. I reset the range, but it didn't reset the range. Okay. Just to double check, crude oil. All right, we're going to go into the energies. Crude oil is still on the March contract, as you see, 200,000 with 144 on the April. So there's a good chance we're going to have rollover this week. Okay. So let's take a look. I'm not sure why I'm resetting my scaling range, but it's not very cooperative. Yep, okay, so we're all set now. There we are. Okay, good stuff. So let's take a look and see what's going on with crude oil. I must have been zooming into something. There we are. All righty, back in business. All right, second dot out of typically 7, as we said. The moving average at 60.43. 60.43 falls into this UFO, but my God, that is a giant UFO. Okay, and the reason why I don't really like, it's across the board here. So, two things we can do here. First one would be just completely disregard this and just say, okay, I'm not going to take this. It's fine. You can do that. You could do something a little bit more conservative and enter on the the darker circle of the UFO, which is what I would do in this scenario, just because right, it's a pretty big UFO, right? We would have to put our stop down here below at 24. Okay, so that would need to be our stop, meaning our target would need to be up at 54, right? 60.54 is what I'm trying to say. So let me just double check my math. Minus 60.24, right? That's 15 pips. That's actually the absolute maximum that I would risk per trade. So 60.54, right? 60.54 minus 60.39. Yep, 15 ticks. Always good to double check your math. So in this scenario, I will not be entering at the more aggressive entry, which is at 60.43, but I'll be taking the a little bit more conservative setting, which is at the top of this UFO. Now, the way you know that I'm entering at the top of the higher concentration is the fact that this number 60.39 coincides with where this UFO starts. It's the same one on the share bar. So let's go ahead and set this up. So 60.39 being our entry, our stop being at 24, and then our exit, our T1 being at 54. Now, bonus brownie points for anybody that tells me what I forgot to do from the get-go. If you can type it in the chat while I just, I gotta move this a little bit lower here. But something that we were actually supposed to do before we even set this trade up was the fact that we needed to know where our final destination is, right? So our final destination is the opposing UFO on this 15-minute time frame, which is this UFO over here that is starting at 60.77. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move this up to 60.77. Okay, and that is our trade setup for this crude oil trade. Okay, Just realized, let me just do this real quick. There we are. So that is our setup with crude oil. Now again, I could talk a little bit more about this one, but I do want to see what's going on with the euro contract, and it looks like it's just rocketing on up. Would have been nice to analyze this one first, I guess. Right? Woulda, coulda, shoulda. That's okay, guys. It's not a matter of missing out or not. It's just a matter of, it looks like the euro does have a little bit more movement behind it. Obviously, because it's not President's Day in Europe or anywhere else in the world. It's President's Day in the U.S. only. So crude oil is set up. Let's take a look at the euro contract. So we're seeing that the moving average is at 21,362. Right, 21,362 falls around here somewhere, about in the middle here, and within this UFO here. So that's good to see. That means we do have a potential entry as well. Now let's see what's going on. So this is 21,365 is where this UFO starts. So looking at this, if I were to set it up on TradingView.com. It's always easier to calculate these 5 digits entries on TradingView, just to see, hey, what we're working with here. So I'm just gonna take a look at that real quick. Gonna change this to TradesStation. Okay, so we're just gonna take a look at this and set it up. Oops. Set it up here. So we're looking at the ECH 21. That's the futures for euro. Okay, and we were looking at getting our entry at this 21,365. Just gonna put a horizontal line there. 21,365, and our stop to be, because this is the euro contract, I do give it 2 ticks, so it'll be down here at 25. The main thing is does this 21,325, does that fall within white space on all 3 charts? Well, it certainly does over here, right? 25 is right there. However, the 25 is actually within this UFO. So what do we have to do? We have to go 2 ticks below the bottom of this UFO, which is 21,350. So now we have to go to 21,305, which is right there. Now doing the same exercise again, 21,305 is actually within this UFO. So our stop would essentially need to be at 2129. So 2129, that's all the way down here. Right, so that just increased our risk over here in the first trade substantially, right? Just to know exactly how much, the easiest thing would be to do is just to take a look at this on the TradingView website here. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So if we were to go, right, we're doing a limit buy at 21,365, right? Now our stop loss being at 21,290, we'd be risking $170 per contract, right? No, don't send you 21,365 to 21,290. Yep, 21,365. That's our entry to 21,290. We're actually risking 93.75. That's 15 ticks. Okay, it's that's not bad at all in my opinion. So, and our take profit would also be 15 here as well. So, and that's our setup right there. Now our final target, we would have to determine based on the climate window down here. Do we have anything up above? We do not. Right? There's nothing above us here. We could load some more data just to see if there's anything else out there. But in the meantime, you know, we're going to go ahead and place this trade. Send that order in. It's going to show up here as well. Actually, I'm just going to place it through here because I wanted to show me these stops as well. Right? I didn't do it through TradingView because it's not preset. Over here, I do have it preset. So 290 right there is our stop. I'm going to put this color as red. Our T1 has to be the equivalent amount. So we're just going to go ahead and do 21,365 minus 21,290. We're looking at 75. Okay, plus, okay, so we're opening it up to 21,365, 21,365 plus 75. So we're at 21,440. Right there. I'm gonna go ahead and cancel the second limit just because we don't have anything up above. If you want, you know, after you kind of have this framed, you can certainly get that going. In the meantime, looks like we did get filled on crude oil, which is nice. Okay, we'll look at that right to the tick. So, you know, there's a good chance if you were, you know, doing this live that you might have not gotten filled, which is okay. That happens a lot of times, and believe me, I'll tell you this: I've experienced it. You know, when you go from sim to live, you some of these things that you experience, you're like, wow, you know, touched it to the tick, but I didn't get on board. And of course, with futures, it's first in, first out. Meaning, you know, the sooner you place that order, the higher probability that you will get filled on a small touch like that. So, you know, but you know, that being said, obviously this is sim and this is for educational purposes, so we did get filled. So we're going to analyze it as if we got filled on the live market. So let's look at this real quick. So the thing that I'm doing right now is the setup for the time and trade. So if, you know, we got 1, 2, 3 ticks, if within these 3 ticks we do not get filled, we do not get our T1 up here at 150 at 60.54, right, which is only about, what is it, 7 ticks away, which is not a, you know, by no feet is not a big movement for crude oil to do. We're actually going to close the trade if we don't get it within this purple square. Now, what does that mean? This is our time in trade setup. Okay, and I'm sorry, I actually realized that I forgot to take a snapshot of this setup, because we will be reviewing these in the future. So 2021 0215 CL setup. Okay, and look at that, beautiful. This is what you definitely want to see. You see a new UFO form here as you're in a trade. That should definitely bring a smile to your face, right? Because there's a good chance that if something like this were to happen now, and then something like this would happen, right? At least probabilities would suggest that. Right? I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not going to tell you that this won't happen, right? But probabilities would suggest that once this price touches this darker circle here, more of these orders will get filled to give it more room to the upside. It can certainly go back down to your stop, but it would certainly be more probable that this would touch our T1 and perhaps then, you know, either pause a little bit or maybe, you know, stall a little bit or maybe just shoot straight to your T2. You never know. Our job as traders is to follow our plan. And right now our plan says sit on your hands at least until for another, what is it, 32. So this says at least for another 3 minutes. Right? So we have to sit on our hands for at least another 3 minutes until 11:32 over here. This is Eastern time. Right, that's why EST New York City, and then this being Macedonia because I'm Macedonian. So we're looking at, you know, a few more minutes to determine whether or not we're going to leave this open or not. So once this third candle closes, you actually have the permission to just hit the close button, and that's it. You're done. Okay, I'm just going to take a quick glance at the Euro contract. That one seems to be pulling down a little bit too. It would definitely be nice to get on board on this one too. Now, according to our plan and according to the strictest of our rules, you're not allowed to execute this trade until this crude oil trade gets to safety. Okay? And as you see right now, it is, you know, definitely moving downward. So there's a good chance that once this new candle opens, we're going to have to close this at market for either a small loss or a small win. Right? Definitely not a big loss or a big win in this scenario. Obviously, it was up. It would have been nice to get, you know, close to that T1 and just close that at market for a bit of money in the profit. But it is what it is. And you know, seeing an opposing UFO form right at that point is certainly not going to help the trade either. The good news is, you know, we got filled at the absolute best portion here. So if you didn't get filled, this trade would no longer be valid because, of course, there are no UFOs down below. Everything got filled. So taking this trade after this fact will actually be detrimental. It will not be according to the plan. So let's just see what's going to happen. Only, what is it, about 50 seconds or so until we have permission to hit the close button. Obviously, this trade is highly unlikely that it'll go to T1, which is fine. We're going to close it either for a small loss or maybe for a small win if it pulls back a little bit. In the meantime, we got another 30 seconds. Here we go. We actually got into the Euro trade. I was really hoping that it was going to slow down a little bit and then we get filled. So let's go ahead and make sure this one does get closed according to the plan in about 15 seconds or so. And then we'll go from there. How's it going so far, guys? Just let me know in the chat, please. There we are. We're out of that trade for crude oil. Just gonna go ahead and save that. 2021 0215 CL exit. Okay, so now we're free to take a look at our Euro trade. Gonna do the same thing that we did on the other one. Put this up here, the vertical line, and put another vertical line, 3 candles to the right. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's our fill. You know, you mark a vertical on the fill candle. You mark another. You know, you see that the TradeStation does snap to it. So 1, 2, 3, or you can just simply do the math and say, okay, I got filled at, you know, 1032 plus, you know, this is in 2-minute increments, plus 6 is equals 38. So you're good to go if you don't have a platform that snaps to the minutes. Okay, do the same thing here. That's our, you know, I don't like this, a little too dark. Let's set the transparency to 30%. I set it to 30, but it became darker. Okay, no, it's the other way around, yeah. So yeah, I'll set this to 80%, and I'm just gonna make this the default. There we are. Okay, so we are in this trade as well. It's not doing a whole bunch. Whew, look at that. Right, so crude oil definitely found some sellers up there, and as a result, the climate is now already changed to unconfirmed. It's not a confirmed down climate yet. If it were to get confirmed, definitely would be on board to take this to the short side. Obviously, we have quite a few UFOs to choose from, 38 being right here, so this would most likely be the proper entry here, which overlaps with this one. And looking at this again, 47 through 49. So yeah, definitely these two UFOs would be a lot more valid to take this short, should this climate give us the opportunity to do that. Okay. All right, so gold's not doing a whole bunch, and this is a 60-minute time frame, so I'm just gonna go ahead and close it. Silver, no news there either, and it's also a much slower moving market. We're gonna go ahead and close that. The euro on the 60-minute, I'm sorry, the 15-minute is where we executed, not the 60. But let's actually see what's going on with the 60. just to see like how it looks on the bigger time frame as well. Okay, and there's actually a UFO right there. We're dead smack in the middle of it, which is nice, kind of like a bit of an extra probability in our favor. Looking at this right now, right, we don't have permission to do anything else but to look at it and watch it. You know, we have at least another 3 or so minutes to look for other opportunities. Crude oil did what crude oil did. We are going to get an update to the climate in 10 minutes, so we got some time on that one. Let's go back to the charts back here to see if there's anything. So silver we already looked at, there's nothing there. Sensible on the NQ. However, we are on, yeah, we're on the 3rd out of 6, and it's, you know, more than half an ATR away, so there's really no point in looking at that. So okay, I mean that's that for now. Near sensible on all of these, but as you see, and this is something that I want to point out to everybody, you know, it's saying it's a near sensible long, but as you see, the ATR spread is actually negative across the board. So what does that mean just from a first glance without you looking at the charts? That means that this instrument, for example, NQES, ECRTY, and CL, even though they were all, you know, up climates, they're currently trading below their moving averages. So, and I'm just going to make this red. So all of them are trading below their moving averages. So that means there's a good chance that even though they're still confirmed, they might actually become unconfirmed fairly quickly. Okay, so that's just a little bit of extra knowledge that I have with the system and how it looks at movement. So just be on the lookout. As soon as you see a price, you know, start trading in the negative of its ATR, it does not bode well for the current climate. That doesn't mean you can't be prepared like we are prepared right now with crude oil, should it give us an opportunity to the downside. Right? So if this stays the way it is, and in 2.5 minutes from now it says, hey, you know what, it's you know, it's done enough movement that this is now a confirmed down climate, go for it, then boom, we have an entry right here at 60.37, which obviously once the moving average moves up, if it does go up there, if it moves about 13 ticks above the 37, you know, it's gonna be dead smack in this UFO over here. So we should be okay to take that trade. Obviously our stop will need to go over at the 60.50. So, you know, we'll be looking somewhere around there for our exit, should it go against us. And obviously for T1, and you know, it's a 1-to-1. For T2, we will actually be looking down here at 59.77. Just gonna put a horizontal down there at 59.77. And just kind of keep it there just for our reference, our record, so to speak, so we can figure out what's going on. And here we go. For EC, now that it's after 38, we actually have permission to close this trade as well. Obviously, you know, this is a $37 loss on this instrument. It's no big deal. We're gonna go ahead and save it. So 2021 0215 EC exit. And that's that. Should the opportunity present itself, I have absolutely no problem taking it again and again until, you know, it goes your way or it goes completely against you, right? Until the climate says, hey, this is a valid entry, I have permission according to my plan to take it. Okay, for the 60-minute Euro time frame, we don't have anything, so we're gonna go ahead and close that one as well. This one is still a confirmed up climate, so if somehow we get a UFO form over here, we could potentially re-enter this. In the meantime though, we're just gonna keep it open. And okay, how much space do I have to the right? I feel like that's a little too many, but okay. Just playing a little bit with the scaling just so I have a better by the look of it. Okay, so that's that. Here we go. Crude oil is climbing back up, which in all reality, it doesn't bode well with our next plan, which is to go short on this. But we'll see what will happen in about 5 minutes. Okay, we looked at silver, there wasn't there. Nothing was there, so looks like we've exhausted all of our 50-minute and 60-minute climates. So I'm gonna go ahead and open these three over here that have the near sensible long on the 240 minutes. So we're looking at corn, gold, and natural gas. Let's go ahead and open those up as well. So we got corn, gold, and natural gas on the 240s, just to see if they can give us any opportunity. Obviously, you know, taking these trades, you're most likely going to have to end up managing it after the session is over. It's not something that is going to end, you know, in the next, you know, 5 minutes or 10 minutes from our session that we're doing here. So let's take a look. We said the NG, actually that is on the G, I believe, for the energies. NGH, NGJ, so it's on the H. Okay, so let's go ahead and switch it to the H at NGH 21. It is an up climate, but unfortunately we don't have any UFOs here. This is most likely either rollover or you know, typically you don't see gaps like this, but it is there. GCJ21, right? We did see that it was on the J. Gold. Yep. It's on the J. It's right on its line. There's no UFO, so no trade there. Corn I haven't traded in who knows how long. Let's take a look and see grains, not softs. So corn is on the March contract still. Yeah, 100,000. Yeah. So we're gonna go to at CH21. Okay, and corn is a sensible down climate, but actually, yeah, I think it is closed. Yeah, it's not tradable as of right now. Corn's market hours are always a little sketch for me. Yeah, 541.01, 541. Yeah, so we're not going to be doing anything with this one, even though that there is a potential valid entry right here at this 530, 540 area that we're seeing here, 540.7 and 7.5. So that's actually somewhere around here, 540. I'm sorry, 540 and 6/8 and 7/8, because right they do trade in eighths on corn, which coincides with this UFO here. So it's a pretty nice setup, obviously, but it is halted for now. So we're going to be leaving that alone. Okay. Yeah, folks. Not like I said, it is President's Day. It's a bit slower today. It's nothing you know, unusual to not have as many trades. As a matter of fact, many traders just choose not to trade today because it is a holiday, and usually when there's lack of liquidity, that could be more volatile movements. But as we're seeing right now, that's just not the case. We're not seeing a whole bunch of movement in either direction. So we're just going to leave it alone. I just want to see an update to the climate on this crude oil. If we don't have an update, if it is still unconfirmed, excuse me, we're just going to leave it alone. In the meantime, just let me know how's it going so far. I mean, have you been trading this year, throughout the year? How is trading going? Please feel free to let me know. If you haven't already, you know, please go and visit our website. tradewithufos.com. It's recently gotten a new facelift, much more. I would say a lot more streamlined, and a lot of good stuff shown on there. You can look at some courses that we have. You can look at the 3 pillars of trading that we have, which is using the apps, specializing them with courses, and getting some coaching. So definitely do check this out as well. And then of course the upcoming backtesting course. This is a self-paced course, so definitely check that out as well if you haven't already. And that's that. Okay, just gonna take another quick peek at this. There we go. We do have a confirmed down climate as expected. 35 being the new moving average price. So I'm gonna go ahead and set this up before we terminate the session at 60.37. Obviously our stop, as I said, is gonna have to be up here at the 50. So move this 4 ticks down as well at the 24. And that's our setup. And of course we said 59.77 being our final target. Okay, and that's over there. All right, so what I'm going to do is same as before. I'm just going to take, I'm going to put this up here, take a quick screenshot of it, make it all nice and understandable. Take a screenshot of that. Save it as 2021-02-15 CL setup number 2. So that way it's all nice and finally documented. There's no, searching through the charts of, hey, what did I do here? What did I do there? Everything's nice and concise. There's no ands, ifs, or buts. Okay, folks, it's been my absolute pleasure to present this session for you today. I really do hope you found it helpful, instructional. I really do hope you see some value in this. Again, if you haven't already, please do check out the new website that we have. And of course, at the top right here where it says live trading, if you click on that, you'll be able to get your calendar synced up with our calendar, so you get some notifications on every time we do these sessions. It is a really powerful thing. As you see, we have sessions just about every day going on with more to come. So please stay tuned. And if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, anything that you want to do, please, you can either go to www.tradewithufos.com/Bojan, and you can actually ask questions. Excuse me. You can ask questions on the website and get them answered through the website. Or if you would prefer not to do it there, then please feel free to send it to me over at bojan@TRADDICTIV.com. I'm always there to answer questions in email, and maybe in the near future when we're doing some of these sharpening sessions, we can even highlight some of those questions, because there's a good chance that if you have a question, that there's a good chance that somebody else has a question it's similar to yours. Okay, folks, thank you so much again. It's been my absolute pleasure to present this session. I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day. And I will actually see you, I believe, tomorrow morning for doing the 3D market preview. Thank you.